have immunities or whatever. And so as soon as I told him Kathy got it, she was like, I was like, shut up. I was like, this just, right? If we can all find facts that encourage our side.
We can.
Your stream has started. You're on TV. Hi.
No fun, Mr.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We are.
We are.
Yes.
This is on.
Was vacation super restful?
Very well.
It was a good time. Since we're on camera, that's why. When you're with the Holmeses, it's always a good time.
Oh, that's right, they got married, didn't
Yeah.
they?
That was a fun pirate ship.
I forgot that was
Yeah, Timmy.
good.
Is that Florida?
Yeah.
Is that where you went? Okay. Nice.
Fort Myers.
Fun.
Okay, what we got on here?
I'm sorry.
Okay, we got it right there. Okay.
I just, so you had it handy in case you don't log in and look for it. I just printed you a copy of the red line
Yeah.
version because I'm trying to highlight anything that's changed really.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
So we'll just keep moving. I'll say a few general things at the start about the process and our goals, and then we'll just go through it.
Jane coming? Didn't hear that she wasn't.
That's what we were just talking about. I hope so.
She's usually here early.
Yeah, because this meeting can't happen without a third person. If she isn't, we're gonna have to
Call her.
call and say, Jeff Russell. Yeah. Give her a few minutes here.
Yeah, we still got all the time.
Yeah.
There's even no reason to open that. Did you have it right here?
Yep.
Yeah.
I figured I'd just save y'all from
Yeah.
mess with it.
Mess with it.
That's all, it's the only document.
So I have to look it up every single time. Sign it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, save you the looking, right?
We thought we may have to call you.
It
gotta
starts
have that
at
third
7,
person.
right? Yes, you're fine.
We just thought, we're like, wait.
You're good.
Or go pick you up, one of the two.
Yeah, no, all good.
Okay.
And the camera's on, just, so you know. It's funny how it's on delay.
No.
James just walking in on my screen here.
Oh.
It's like
A little delay?
Yeah. She
Oh,
just
that's
sent
a
it.
delay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't dress up for it, so.
Yeah.
I told him to.
Like I told you on the phone, I would be floored if anyone chose, because no one ever comes to this. This is,
Like that meeting I attended earlier.
exactly, because this meeting was created at the same time that other meeting was created. It's all part of the same intent. And it really has never done anything. I mean, I'm guessing eventually these will go back away because they'll see that, but,
I'm kind of surprised nobody from CTA shows up and just in case somebody.
yeah, and I didn't even say anything to them about tonight, because tonight's just a formality. I'm sure.
Just
teachers
informative.
I'm sure teachers will come Monday night.
Monday,
To be
sure.
supportive and show their appreciation.
I was thankful that I attended the teacher negotiations. It made a lot more sense to me having attended
Sure.
that.
good.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I did definitely learn quite a bit from that.
Well, and, I mean, you saw ours are pretty easy.
Mhm.
We all get along, we are in the same mindset of what we're trying to accomplish. And unfortunately, that's not always the case for some districts. And
That's
even,
what I read.
and even here in years past, there were some years that were tough, I think. So I really appreciate that we're all looking to accomplish the same end result. It's just figuring out the best way to do that is.
Congratulations on your presentation the
Oh,
other day.
thanks.
Yeah, you tell us about that after we get done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
What's she doing?
say a little bit of stuff.
You were the one that's right,
One minute.
Kathy was supposed to do that, wasn't she?
1 minute little
Yeah,
speech.
we can talk about afterwards. She did great.
Oh.
She did great.
I'm glad somebody was there. I felt bad that I couldn't go.
No, it's okay.
Next year, I'm going
We-
down that floor.
I say we actually,
That's a long drive. Where was it? Was it downtown?
it's in Indiana, it's at the
Yeah,
convention center.
but it's probably better to
The
go
one
downtown, that way you can just flow right
Oh, the
in.
downtown
Yeah.
convention, okay.
The
Is
massive,
that at the
Got it.
Capitol building?
it's right next to the Capitol, it's in the
Okay.
huge convention center right there by the hotels in the Capitol, so.
Okay.
They already gave us the dates for next year, so I'll send those out if people wanna put them on the calendar, in case you wanna come, but
They're
yes.
driving down.
As I told Emily, there's a reason I suggest that you come down the night before with me, because that's an early morning to
Yes.
drive down there and deal with traffic and parking.
Whenever I have to go to Indy, I usually go the night before
Yeah,
because
just-
it's terrible. At 469,
So you're
or
refreshed
465,
and
yeah,
ready to
it's
go.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, 69 is usually pretty smooth sailing at that time. Coming home, it's not though. Coming home at 4, at 5 o'clock. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay,
You're right.
alright, everyone's ready?
Yep.
Alright, hello everyone, I will call this tentative agreement meeting for Smith Green Schools to order on October 13, 2021 at 7 p.m. Dr. Ryan, pledge allegiance.
Okay, everyone would please stand and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Alright, let's just have a moment of meditation. Alright, thank you everyone. The mission of Smith Green Community Schools is to provide a superior educational experience that ensures success for every student through excellence in teaching and learning. So we'll start the public meeting. Dr. Rob.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hart. And for anyone watching at home, hello, thanks for joining us virtually, and thank you, Board, for being here, and Mrs. Royer. Tonight, Board, the only purpose and only item on the agenda this evening is to review and share some public information about our tentative agreement that we've reached with the Smith Green Classroom Teachers Association. So, just a little bit of background before I quickly go through the highlights of this. As required by Indiana Code, every school district must negotiate at least every 2 years a teacher agreement with their Classroom Teachers Association. The last years, we've actually negotiated each year just to make sure we were making decisions on a year-to-year basis. But this year, felt confident for a variety of reasons that we could actually negotiate a 2-year contract. So the proposal that we're going to talk about tonight is actually being proposed for this current school year as well as next school year. So this would last until June 30th of 2023. So in the past, the last few years, some of the kind of guiding overall principles that we've used when we've taken a look at any of our employee contracts or pay scales or anything is the idea of what we kind of call the 3 R's. We want to recruit, we want to reward, and we want to retain our excellent employees and teachers here at Smith Green. And those are kind of the overarching principles we try to use whenever we're making decisions for employees. So this year, what's kind of significant this year, and it'll kind of speak to some of the things we're going to talk about in a minute. The state, as you may remember last spring, did give us a significant increase in per student funding to all schools in Indiana. And so at Smith Green, we definitely saw, we are now projected to receive a significant increase in our total dollars in the education fund. And so we are very appreciative to the legislature for that. That will apply for the next 2 years of the biennium budget. So the duration of this contract will fall under that funding increase. And as I think I've shared before, we are definitely a people business. There's nothing, in my opinion, more important for us to invest in than our teachers and our staff. They are the folks who work with our children, who work with our families, and make this place what it is. So, just want to make sure we're giving everything we can to help them feel supported and cared for here at our district. So, as part of the negotiation process, if we start to look at the document, Board, on the front page, the only changes you'll see are obviously just the dates that need to be updated. One new item that is now required by law is on the 3rd page under the terms. In addition to the dates, we do have to add the section that I've highlighted in blue for you, which we have to spell out the evening or the day that we held the public hearing. So I know that Ms. Elliott was able to attend that, and that was held on September 2nd, and it was also live streamed for those who wanted to attend virtually. And then this evening's meeting I've also added here because this is now a required step in the process, which this is just a public meeting that discusses the tentative agreement. And once again, we are live streaming that, so I did indicate that our patrons are able to watch this through live classroom as well. On the next page, the only change that we made, we did want to clarify this year in our language what immediate family refers to. Had a few situations the last few years that came up that just felt like there was some gray areas, so I wanted to make sure we were all in agreement of who that refers to. A pretty simple change, but just wanted to clarify. The next change is over on page 11. And this actually goes with what we just talked about in the language on immediate family. Just wanted to clarify if a teacher needs to use bereavement leave, which classification of bereavement leave certain individuals do qualify for. So again, just trying to get this alignment. We worked with our attorneys to make sure that this was the recommended language. So that's something that we agreed to as well. The next changes you will see over on page 14. So this is the section that talks about salary and compensation. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we did see a significant increase in funding, and so we are very happy with the amount of raises that we'll be able to offer to our teachers if the board chooses to approve this next Monday evening. So if you look here for the current school year, based on the two factors that we do have to consider when giving increases to certified teachers, a teacher is eligible to receive up to a $5,000 base salary increase, which is pretty monumental. And then in year 2 of the contract, again, based on our projections for the finances here at Smith Green, we did also negotiate and agree to a total of $3,000 of an increase in year 2 of this contract. So again, feel very good about that, very excited for our teachers. If you look below that, we did negotiate to agree to a cap at the top end of our salary range of $72,000. However, to make sure that our teachers who are at the top of the range do feel supported and valued as well, we did agree that if they were to receive one of the amounts above for increase and it exceeds that 72, they would just receive that excess amount in the form of a stipend. It would not raise their base salary, but they will still receive the money, but it limits our range a little bit too. So new teachers, we did want to clarify that any new teacher that we may have hired over the summer, if they are below the new bottom of $40,000, we want to raise them so that everyone is at least at the $40,000 mark. And you may recall through the governor's teacher pay commission, $40,000 is a target that's now been set that they really would like by the end of the second year of these contracts. They would like all schools to have a base of 40. We're getting there a year early. So very excited to be able to do that. And then the next piece on number 6 is just a legal clarification. That's not really a change, just a way we needed to rephrase that. Just clarifies that all money is going into this contract. If for some reason there was any extra money left, it would be redistributed out to everyone that's under the rules of this contract. So on page 16, the only change there, just needed to update the amounts in number 12 just to realign with our new base salary. This is the same language as before, but obviously when the base salary increases, we have to change the hourly rates because it just ties directly to whatever the base salary is for that year. Below that, we did a little restructuring. Items 13 through 16 have been here except for number 16, but all of these are not actually negotiated items, but we just include them to make them easy to find. So I just have to put a disclaimer that says these weren't actually negotiated. They're just here for informational purposes. So again, these items are here. And one addition that I do want to point out on page 17, this is actually a continuation of 15. As you may recall, in the last few years, we've had the option that when we are short a sub, teachers can give up their prep period to cover for another teacher in lieu of a sub if we have that. And in the past, teachers have only been able to receive, once they accrue a certain number of periods at that time, they could turn it in and they would receive an extra leave day in their bank. Based on some feedback and something that Mrs. Royer and I were comfortable with, we decided to add a second option where if a teacher is not interested in leave days, they can be compensated $15 per period that they choose to do coverage. We're hoping that a few more teachers may take advantage of this. It's no secret that most districts are short subs. The pandemic has not helped that, it has made it worse. So we're hoping this helps our teachers feel valued and rewarded for helping us out during those times. Number 16 is not a change, just again wanted to include this information. All these positions have always had these days, just wanted to make sure it was clearly spelled out so there's no confusion. Board, the next 2 pages just show our salary ranges. These are not in any way tied to years of experience or anything. In fact, I've changed the rows from numbers to letters to try to clarify a little more that these are not tied to someone at year 1, year 3 like it used to be in the olden days. It gets pretty excessive all the way out to the triple Q here. I don't know another way to do it, but we're trying to make it very clear. So these charts are only used actually when I place a person who's coming in with experience and I need to place them somewhere on the range. But otherwise, these really do not dictate raises at all. The language language we looked at a minute ago is what actually dictates any sort of a salary increase that teachers would use. But again, this is just a nice visual for teachers sometimes to reference to see. Okay, if we go to page 20, just needed to update our language for health insurance because in addition to negotiating out the rates for this coming year, we did have to put language that would talk about what will happen in year 2 of this contract since we're locking this in now. So similar to what we're doing for this year, in year 2 we set aside a maximum of $61,200 that will contribute up to 75% of any premium increase that happens in the second year of this contract. If it exceeds that, then the employee will need to pick up any additional above that. It'll be divided evenly amongst everyone in the plan. If it comes in lower than that, then we will take any additional money left over, and just like the earlier language, we'll just redistribute it out to teachers to make sure that all the money stays in the contract. Okay? The next 3 pages are pretty simple. This, as I shared in some note with you earlier, we did do a 10% increase to the entire chart for salaries, or excuse me, for extracurricular salaries. And so all of the positions, this is just a 10% bump from where they were prior. We did decide to go ahead and do 10% in the first year and then no increase in the second year. Rather than spread it out over 2, we decided let's do a more significant increase at first, and that'll just carry through. But again, trying to make sure all of our activities stay competitive with our neighboring schools as well. Okay? Just one note, on page 24, you'll see a red strike through. This is because we've had some ongoing discussion with CTA. This is not a bargain item. Again, this is a section that's just here for information. But we've been working out the best way to compensate coaches and when to pay. And when we've had some concern or some issues come up, it's when a teacher is fulfilling one of these roles. Let's say the teacher initially agrees to do something, but then something changes through the school year and they're no longer able to fulfill that duty. The trouble is, the way we've done some of these, they've been paid over their 24 pays. Now all of a sudden they've been compensated for something they haven't done, and so it creates a lot of headaches for the business office. It obviously hurts the teacher because now we have to go back and recoup those funds too. So we're in discussion with CTA of a better way to do that. So for now, since this isn't even bargained, we decided let's just strike this language. That'll be more an administrative decision, but that way we can update it and we'll just disseminate that information out to CTA when we figure out the best way. And then nothing has changed with sick leave banks, so the only other change board are the new health insurance rates. And again, this is with Smith Green picking up 75% of the increase. And so otherwise it's just the updated rates that will go into effect on January 1st. And then the ones above are the rates that are currently in place based on prior negotiations. So I went through that very quickly. Board, do you have any questions for me or need me to go over any of that again?
I know I have no more questions. Dr. Howe went over with me page 14, the base salary cap with my question, and I am good with his answer.
Okay.
So, I have no other questions.
Anything else? The last thing I want to say, just to make sure I do say at this meeting, I cannot thank our Classroom Teachers Association enough. Sometimes negotiations can be a difficult, challenging thing to work through because sometimes, we may have different ideas or different goals, but I can't stress enough how easy they were to work with. It was very clear right from the first day that we all had the same goals, the same mission, we wanted the same outcomes, and it just, I dare I say it was even a really enjoyable experience because we knew we were doing something special for our employees. So again, I want to say a huge thank you to the negotiations team for SGCTA. I look forward to doing it again in 2 years. So that is everything
Thank you.
that I have, Board.
All right, anything else? Questions, comments? No? All right, I'll just close that public meeting for the tentative agreement. And then if there's nothing else, I'm gonna go ahead and close the meeting for the tentative agreement for Smith Green Schools at 7:13 p.m.
Great. Okay.
October 13th, 2021.
Very good.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.